Other interesting political news, you have the UAW strike expands to General Motors' largest, most profitable plant as 5,000 workers walk off. That's not so good. Although, great for them, they actually get $500 per week to strike, which, again, they're actually finally getting some value for paying those UAW dues throughout the years, where most of the dues usually go to, politicians, which is hilariously ironic. They elected politicians who want to ban internal combustion engines, which for the UAW, they represent the big three: Ford, GM, Chrysler, now Stellantis. That's their largest, most successful product. And also, this politicians caused inflation. Again, click the subscribe button. It might fix the stuttering. I'm not sure yet, though. It's right here somewhere. But nevertheless, hilariously ironic what they've inadvertently caused, or perhaps unintentionally caused. Now, it looks like specifically about 5,000 workers are walking off that plant in Arlington, Texas. And again, that's where they make their most profitable, important products, also known as the internal combustion engines for the SUVs, as well as another plant will do the trucks. In this particular case, this plant makes the Chevy Tahoe and Suburban, the GMC Yukon, and the Cadillac Escalade, which, yeah, spoiler alert, if you're not big into automotive community, it's all about the same damn thing. They do have different pieces of plastic and emblems glued, or perhaps nowadays double-sided tape. If your budget's friendly, they can buy that. Although, based on the reliability, perhaps not. But nevertheless, they just have different logos plastered on them. And with the Cadillac, they usually include a little bit extra pieces of technology. But yeah, same some subframe, same core components. Which, of course, if you're from General Motors, there's a lot of cost savings. And that's one of the reasons Cadillac is so profitable, especially the Escalade. I mean, especially there's the Chevy Tahoe and the Suburban just tricked out, as youth might say. Now, this is coming after GM is also, let's see here, GM is saying they're losing about $200 million during the first 2 weeks of the strike, and the average of $200 million per week after. And this, according to CNN Business, they say that the Arlington, Texas plant going on strike, those weekly losses are likely to jump more than 50%. Now, of course, GM said there's no reason for the expansion of the strike. And when asked for comment, they said, quote, "We are disappointed by the escalation of this unnecessary and irresponsible strike. It is harming our team members who are sacrificing their livelihoods to have negative ripples affect their dealers, suppliers, and communities that rely on us. Last week, we provided a comprehensive offer to the UAW that increased the already substantial and historic offers." Now, GM has already offered the contract increase of pay of 23%, which again, name one job you've had in your career where you had that big of a percent increase of wages. It's ridiculously good, if you ask me. Lord knows I haven't gotten that type of earlier in my career when I worked for someone else. I never had those types of drastic increases. Now, of course, the UAW president is pushing for more strikes because, again, brilliant in terms of, you always want, or there's an age-old mob movie called Key Largo. It's got Humphrey Bogart, brilliant movie. It also has Edward G. Robinson as the main antagonist. But one of the most prolific moments in the movie when he's talking to the gangster, who's played by the gentleman I just mentioned. He says, "Rocco," which is the name of the character in the movie. Humphrey Bogart, the actor, says, "Someday you're going to have to teach me." He goes, "Teach you what?" And he goes, "How to squeeze blood from a rock." Which, again, these companies, they're making profit, but they're reinvesting these profits into their EV transformation, which the government is forcing them to do, which the UAW voted for the government to force them to do that, which is hilariously ironic. Now, it'll be interesting to see. Again, this is their key core plant. At what point does GM just say, we're going to hire Band-Aids, which some pejoratively call scabs or non-unionized workers? Because, again, it's one of those precarious situations where, name one time when the relations were good. Was it the 1940s, 30s? It's one of those instances where GM, Ford, Chrysler, they were called the big three for a reason. They used to have their dominant market share. They used to be the bee's knees, as the youth might say. Well, not the youth, the retirement home folks. But nevertheless, it's a cool term that I will continue to use and bring it back, some might say. But they had enormous profits because there's very little competition. They also made a bulletproof, reliable vehicle. Gone are those days. You have many other competitors who have lower price points and more reliable products, aka Toyota and Honda in particular. And of course, Tesla, which you could argue give you the reliability because Tesla's it's an EV vehicle. And will it last 20 years? Hell no. Which is why personally I drive a vehicle with 3 pedals and an internal combustion engine, also known as a manual transmission, also known as the best experience you'll ever have in a vehicle, and how every vehicle should be by default. But nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see the most profitable plant. What is GM going to do? Because they can only give so much before. I mean, it's just going to put them out of business and bankrupt them yet again. And because of GM, they have a lot of experience in bankruptcies. They've gone bankrupt, I believe, 3 times now since Billy Durant founded the company when he combined a Buick and an Oldsmobile all those years ago. First bankruptcy, again, the economy, it's not a single variable analysis, but one of the times I went bankrupt due to I believe it was the Great Depression. Then Billy Durant, the founder of GM, actually teamed up with a French race car driver by the name of Louis Chevrolet. They ended up growing Chevrolet and selling consumer products to the point where he could buy his company back. Sad story, by the time he passed away, he lost the company again. And then in 2009, GM went bankrupt again, this time in part because of the huge, enormous cost of the UAW. And they want a lot of the benefits that they had back in the day, they want them back. Which again, GM has a lot of things working against them, same with Ford and Chrysler when it comes to trying to compete against Tesla. They also have the dealership model too, which again, that's a huge number of costs. A lot of people are complaining about vehicles being marked up 200%. Well, that's a separate business entity known as the dealership. GM doesn't care, or they don't see any of the upside of that. That money all goes to the individual franchised owned dealership. They're basically just paying GM a license agreement to use the logo and represent the brand. So it'll be interesting to see how things go from here, but as far as the outlook for, again, there's rumors, they got offers going back and forth, the strike might end in 2 minutes. And maybe I'm wrong, but just based on politics of Shawn Fain, why they were elected, what the union members want, and how many of them voted for the strike and believe in the strike, and many of them want to expand the strike to all plants, I don't see the situation resolving anytime soon, and certainly in any time it's going to be beneficial for the shareholders of General Motors, the people who want to purchase the vehicles, and the retirees who depend on General Motors dividends. It'll be interesting. Let me know in the comments, but as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you everyone again for taking the time to tune in. And again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of October. So if you click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, comments help me grow up the channel and actually make the content better and better. So if you have any suggestions, particularly for picture-in-picture software production, I'd appreciate that capability and that feedback as well. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.